rest. You don't have to put your head, you don't have to put your mind, just do as you have been told. With this kind of a culture, knowledge workforce is not going to come and stay in the industry. Do you all agree? See, he compared it with IT, he compared it with other industries where people actually they actually grow, they actually nurture a knowledge workforce. When you nurture a knowledge workforce, what happens is, the challenges and the skills required to handle them is entirely different. Ask a mom who's got a super hyper child and tell her use your usual wisdom and your usual techniques to actually take care of the child. That doesn't work. You have to treat the child differently. What I'm sure this institution is going to do is create two kinds of people. One is leaders who are essentially going to go up to be the general managers, who are going to be the CEOs, who are going to be the CFOs, who are going to be the COOs of these organizations, and who will bring in a sense of professionalism into the management sector of this industry. Because if I am an old man doing the business as I knew it 20 years back, I have gone into intellectual bankruptcy. Do you get the point? I have gone into intellectual bankruptcy. And I do not know the ideas of how to treat any new person coming into the industry. And that is why the question which Abhay said, a person who comes into the industry after doing his MBA doesn't associate with pride being said that he is a real estate professional. Why does this happen? Why are we unable to instill this sense of pride within that person who comes in after an MBA or maybe a BBA or maybe after any professional course like a civil engineering course but from an IIT, or an MBA who comes from an IIM, or maybe an XLRI? Why does the real estate industry not nurture this kind of talent? This is a big question mark which Abhay is addressing. He is creating two kinds of people. I am amplifying his idea, which he possibly has cut down to a little extent because he wanted to perhaps give me more words to speak to. The idea being not just to create sales who can sell flats. Is that the idea? It's not. It's actually to create that higher level of management within the entire industry, which can then manage the managers. So you need to create leaders who are actually going to manage the managers. So at one side we need to create leaders, and the other side we need to create managers. Leaders are the people who are going to give vision, who are actually going to set the example, who are actually going to dictate the fortunes of this industry. They are the CEOs of tomorrow. So if some of you people who have been the lucky ones to graduate in the first batch of this institute, IREA, I'm sure you're one of the most lucky guys to have actually come into this particular trade of real estate. I have just jotted down a few statistics which were also shown in the end of one of the slides or one of the presentations. Friends, this is something which is going to be of great interest to those people who have completed a course from this particular college and now have two minds as to whether I did a right thing or did I do a wrong thing. The human mind usually keeps questioning itself. Kar to liya bhai? Karna theek tha ya nahi tha? This kind of a question is going to keep coming in your mind. Abhay's presentation, in fact, showed you some of the very, very vital statistics in terms of the fact that, what is it which is going to be the manpower requirement of this industry in the coming years. And he said this is all going to be in the managerial sector or in the knowledge sector. These are not going to be the labor category which we talk of. Some statistics which I just scribbled on a piece of paper, I like to share with you. Friends, every 1 rupee which is spent in this industry actually goes on with a multiplier effect of 5 rupees as it percolates down. Do you understand the value of spending 1 rupee in real estate which percolates down in terms of a 5 rupee spending? So the economy really goes into a fast forward mode when actually money gets invested into real estate. It is India's largest economic growth driver and the growth engine. It is India's largest in terms of the percentage of growth. And as a sector, we stand third in the entire gamut of 14 sectors which are identified as the organized sectors. We stand third. So if you see as real estate, it's really the real estate. There is really a backup in terms of value attached with this particular kind of an industry. Friends, it contributes 5 to 6, but I believe this data is wrong. We contribute 6.7% to the GDP of the country. A single sector contributing 6.7% to the GDP of the country is a huge contribution. 250 industries, either backward or forward, in the line of ascending or descending, are associated with this particular industry sector, real estate sector. 250 industries, ancillaries are attached with this particular industry. We have a total business which by 2000 is going to be 180 billion US dollars. Friends, 1 billion of rupees means 100 crores. If I am talking about 1 billion, I am talking about 100 crores of rupees, and if I am talking about 100 US dollars in terms of billion, then I am talking about 5,000 crores of Indian rupees. And if this is to be multiplied with the current rate, I am being a little conservative, taking it at 50, not at 60. Eknath, could you reduce the volume a little because I can get a little echo? And please request others to switch off the mics. Somebody from the institution, please switch off the other mics. They cause, your mics, if they are on, please switch them off. They cause the resonance here. So friends, you all need to get the necessary comfort that you are absolutely in a good industry. Switch off all the mics, please. This one also. If it's not on, it's talk to us. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thanks. So friends, that's where we actually are coming from in terms of an industry perspective. Now, I had an opportunity to have a longish discussion with Abhay when he actually opened out to me and said what exactly is he doing. Each and every word which he said is absolutely true and correct, because this particular industry doesn't have an academy which can generate a real estate professional. Now, everybody who became a real estate professional went through a hard grind himself, did a lot of mistakes, and eventually found out his own formula, which was his own success formula, which he kept close to his chest because he said, this is my formula. If each one of us is going to make formulas which are close to our own chest, what is going to happen is, we are not going to be in a position to actually spread this knowledge down to a level where people get it as domain expertise. This is not going to happen. In a bank, the banker puts up an institute and says, look, I'm going to train my manpower here. But no real estate developer worth his salt has ever tried doing this. So hats off to Abhay and to Surjit for having actually thought of this. And though he kept saying that, initially we have met with success, limited success, no success, doesn't matter. I am actually going to show you a slide or a video clip towards the end of this particular presentation of mine, and you will see all the greatest ideas in this world met with failures. All the greatest ideas on this earth met with failures, and it was only after not just a failure but a series of repeated failures, that you came up with a very, very, very fantastic, robust, stable platform from which you could succeed. So Abhay, we all stand with you as a part of the fraternity, as a part of somebody who has been with the real estate for the last 20 years. I really have all my admiration for these two gentlemen. One big round of applause for both of these gentlemen. See, it's not a sin to create wealth for yourself. Okay? it's not a sin to create a wealth for yourself. But you should also create some kind of a mechanism so that others can also create and generate wealth for themselves. And what are they both trying to do is, initially in their entire process of the next couple of years, they will not generate wealth, I am sure. This model, they will not generate wealth. Their generation will start later on. But believe me, once you get out of this institute, you will start generating wealth at minimum 25-30,000 per month, for sure. It's a kind of training that Abhay has been imparting to people. I don't see salaries lesser than 25,000. I was in fact telling him, why not I and people who will talk of salaries of 2 lakh rupees per month. And he has, along with his partner and his team, the potential to create professionals who can do that. So maybe Abhay didn't market his institute so well that I have done it. Possibly you can take me as a brand ambassador. I could possibly do more marketing for you, Abhay. But I know your modesty stops you from speaking more about yourself. I actually have a presentation for you, which is the success mantras for the real estate profession. Why did I call it success mantras and not the success principles? There's a real reason behind that. Do you know what is a mantra? Can somebody tell me what is a mantra? Something which you chant again and again is a mantra. Am I right? Or is there any other definition that somebody else has? Right. So a mantra is something which we keep chanting again and again. I'll tell you a quote from Samuel Smiles. Samuel Smiles was one of the biggest management gurus of his time, a big thinker of his times. He said, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap an habit. Sow an habit, reap a character. And sow a character, reap a destiny. So when something becomes a part of your character as a mantra, it will then become your destiny. So success should be made a destiny. You should feel so that I want to make success my habit. Once you make success your habit, it will eventually be your destiny. So Abhay, that is what you are on to. Success is climbing up the ladder. Many times you keep coming down again. But eventually when you go up, there is something written in green there which is called success. So that is where everybody actually intends to go. I'll tell you friends, you will reach there faster. Because you are the recipients, you will reach there faster. The man who is actually giving you will reach his manzil a little slower. Because he has more struggle to do. He will keep innovating, he will keep passing those ideas. Friends, I am just going to show you a video. Please see this and you will see for yourself what I actually mean by showing this video to you. Do we have media player installed on this particular laptop? We have.
आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है।
What do we take from this? It needed a simple thinking by a small boy to get a big obstacle off the way. There were several people. There was a police van there. There was a minister who wanted to actually go across the road. The man who was actually his PA said, "Sir, उस तरफ गाड़ी हमने एक और खड़ी की है. आप उतर के उस पार चले जाइए." But nobody thought of actually moving the obstacle. Somebody needs to make a start. Unless somebody who says that, look, I am not scared of failure. Every man personally is very scared of failure. He says, boss, I don't want to fail. The young boy had no inhibitions. He said, मुझसे ये नहीं उठेगा, कोई बात नहीं. I will at least try and give my push. Mind you, one little boy threw his school bag out in the rain and tried pushing that log. People came, joined, started pushing the log. Even those 10 children could never push the log. But then a bus stopped there, a rickshaw stopped. When the rickshaw stopped, you heard a lady saying, India is just no good a country to stay. If you really actually heard her speak, she said India is no good a country to stay. But you want to do nothing. And you just want to say India is no good a country to stay. See, this is what is happening with real estate. And that is the reason I said, let me show this video to all of you. It's very easy for us to crib. But somewhere or the other, we will have to address systemic issues. Right, Abhay? Unless we don't address systemic issues, how are we going to get rid of those particular issues? And that is what precisely that particular boy did. He said, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? मैं अपना हाथ लगाऊंगा. कम से कम घर में जाके माँ को कहूँगा कि रास्ते में कुछ पड़ा था, मैंने तो जोर लगाया. किसी ने लगाया नहीं लगाया, मैंने लगाया. So that little boy with that little thought could actually Hindustan chale. That song, Shankar Mahadevan's voice, ये सारा हिंदुस्तान चले. कैसे चले? ऐसे लोग बैठे हो, ऐसी सोच हो, तब हिंदुस्तान चले. वही वो सोच लेकर के बैठे, कोई हिंदुस्तान नहीं चलेगा. I am sure real estate हो बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा. So friends, that's one of the things which I really wanted to share with you, and now we'll really go to the success mantras. Please read this and please read the caption below that. We tell people, take initiative. Abhay tells his people, take initiative. Be proactive, don't be reactive. The industry wants people who should be proactive. Any service industry, the first thing that we all need to do is we need to be proactive. We can't create a crisis and then respond when there is a reaction which you start giving out, and then you lost your balance, you lost your cool, and that proactiveness is not there. But you see the wonderful line here. The boss is telling, why don't you show some initiative, man? He tells, sir, did you tell me to show initiative? मतलब initiative दिखाने के लिए भी मुझे आपने कहा है, order दिए हैं क्या? So don't be that. That is not going to lead you to success. Initiative is something which needs to come. You will have to be proactive, right? See, in the world, read this first. Don't let small minds convince you that your dreams are too big. हमेशा ऐसी forces हमारे इर्द गिर्द रहती हैं जो हमेशा हमको ये कहती हैं कि भैया क्या सोचता है यार? If one gentleman by name Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar had not been able to convince his father that I'll be better off playing cricket rather than going and being a clerk in a bank, we would not have had the god of cricket. You all agree? Yes or no? Yes. See, where does it all happen? It all happens in your eyes, the dreams that you see. And I wish to coax all of you to dare to dream big. Don't look to be just sales managers. Look to be CEOs of organizations. Why are we only cut out to be sales managers? We can have the necessary training and go much beyond that. Why should one of you not be putting up a real estate company which should be much higher than what Mr. Singh did, and he launched DLF? So look to have those larger dreams in your eyes, which is actually going to take you further. And if you have set out on a dream and you stop 3 steps lower, never a sin. First nahi aaya, third to aaya. Kya burai hai isme? So there's nothing wrong in that, but dare to dream big. Look at the upper slide first. Do you lead or do you follow? Friends, most of the times we are great followers because we are managers. Managers are people who take instructions and we keep following. And we have all been conditioned to actually do as we are told. Friends, break this myth. By the time you get out of this hall, and I finished my presentation, I'm going to break quite a few myths of yours. And you're going to go with a completely changed mindset, and that is become a leader. And don't be just following somebody. And when you're following somebody, look at the 2 things, self-explanatory. I'm not going to say anything more about it. Right? Because there are 2 video cameras who are recording something, and these people may take that video cassette somewhere, and I may land in trouble. Right? Always look at those things which are there in different colors. The positive thinker thinks and sees the intangible, invisible, and the impossible. Many things are intangible. You can't palpate them, you can't see them, you can't feel them. Success कोई palpable है क्या? हाथ में पकड़ सकते हो आप success? मुट्ठी में ला सकते हो उसको? Intangible है, invisible है, और हम कहते हैं impossible भी है. क्यों नहीं साहब? We say that it is impossible, and I say completely shatter this myth. कौन कहता है success impossible? मैंने अपना करियर 500 रुपए की साड़ी बेचने से शुरू किया था. I used to sit on the floor and sell sarees. After having done my electrical engineering, this madam did say that I am an electrical engineer. Do you expect electrical engineers to sell sarees? But careers will always start in this fashion. No career will start as a general manager. Be prepared to go through the hard grind first. Success ऐसे ही नहीं आएगा. Success आने के लिए वक्त लगेगा. उसके लिए आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. उसके लिए आपको दिन रात पसीना बहाना पड़ेगा. सिर्फ पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग कर ली साहब, अब सक्सेस क्यों नहीं आया? एक महान हस्ती आए थे मिस्टर रुनवाल, उन्होंने कहा पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग करना सब ठीक हो जाएगा. अरे भैया ऐसी कोई गुरु मंत्र नहीं है. सक्सेस तब आएगा जब हार्ड वर्क और पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग दोनों एक साथ चलेंगे, राइट? Believe in yourself and there will come a day when others will have no choice but to believe with you. It's not written believe in you. लीडरशिप का पहला उसूल है कि in you नहीं होता है, with you होता है. I have put a small arrow there which shows that the word is with you. So believe in yourself. हम लोगों में self belief बहुत कम है, क्योंकि हमें बचपन से ये बताया जाता है कि भैया ये तेरे से नहीं होगा. You will not be able to do this. Leave it to me. We have so much of impatience कि सुई में धागा डालना हो तो भी माँ बोलती है बेटा ला इधर, तेरे से नहीं होगा. Is there rocket science involved in that? Is there rocket science involved? सुई में धागा डालना? No rocket science. But we will have to shatter this myth. We will have to say no. We believe in ourselves. Come what may, do what we want to. We will do it. We have the know-how, the wherewithal, and the discipline within ourselves to do it. Your attitude makes the biggest difference. We always say कि उसने मुझे ये नहीं करने दिया इसलिए मैं ये नहीं बन सका, उसने मुझे यहाँ रोका इसलिए मैं वो नहीं हो सका. But the basic problem is you are not tough mentally, you are not self-confident, and you did positive attitude. All the while we play a blaming game. We say because of you I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that. Please be very very tough mentally. 1000 चीजें होने वाली हैं आपकी जिंदगी में जहां फेल्यूर्स आएंगे. Be prepared for that tough grind and the failures. I'm sure you will succeed. When a builder says this, everybody laughs. But friends, we are in a changing world. We will have to keep our promises. You as real estate people, the one most important aspect you will have to look at is you will have to grow that culture where we keep our promises and we are not going to break them. We will fight against odds, we will fight against bosses, we will fight against our managers, but we will make sure that we keep our promises. Because ultimately you people down below make promises and somebody up there sits and says, no, aisa nahi hoga. You have to have that toughness in your attitude to say, sir, aisa to karna hi padega, kyunki ye promise mera tha. Right? So nobody is going to just sit back and relax and let somebody else dictate things to you. You have to keep up your promises. Sorry. Again, when a builder says be on time, लोग बोलते हैं साहब अपनी तरफ देखो, आईने में शक्ल देख के आए हो क्या? आपने कभी पोजीशन टाइम से दिया है क्या? आपने कोई एक स्लैब हमारा टाइम से भरा है क्या? हमसे पेमेंट मांगने का टाइम आता है, सब आप हमको एग्रीमेंट का क्लॉज नंबर बताते हो. But all said and done, it's not just about delivering your product on time, but it is managing your own personal life in time. Many a times I have seen people attend to a customer where the customer was given the time of 8:45 in the morning and the person who was supposed to show the display flag arrived at 15 minutes past 9. Does this go well in an industry which we want to grow as a very disciplined industry? No, that is not going to happen. So you have to be calm and yet you have to be on time. कल रात का गुस्सा आज सुबह मत निकालना. That is why I said be calm. Because yesterday was something which bothered you a lot and you lost your cool. And you said, नहीं जाना है मुझे टाइम पे. No. That's your ethics. You are not going to break your ethics. Act in good faith. I don't think this needs much of explanation, but then everybody today transacts in good faith. He says, sir, madam, I believe in you. That is good faith. I have full faith in you. When he says, I believe in you, he says, I have full faith in you. You will have to act in good faith to make sure that you deliver. If that faith is not there and you don't live up to that, I'm sure this industry, or any industry for that matter, is not going to deliver. Read the lines below. Perfect maturity is when a person hurts you and you try to understand their situation and don't hurt them back. That is understand the situation. Your customer is going to put 100 pins, prickles, needles, everything into you because he wants to get the rate down. उसको per square feet rate कम करवाना है आपसे. वो 100 बातें आपको छेड़छाड़ करके बोलेगा. पर आपको situation को समझते हुए you are not going to hurt them. This applies in every walk of life and not just applying to a customer-salesman relationship, it applies everywhere. Have courage to speak and the wisdom to listen. Today each one of us now is going through a phase of transition where we are having enough courage now to speak. वक्त तो बदलते चला है, हम बोलने तो लग गए हैं, पर आहिस्ते आहिस्ते हम अपनी सुनने की आदत को खो रहे हैं. We are losing the wisdom to listen. So this is what is going to be done, because success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts, and you will have to continue to have that courage to listen, which is extremely important. Read these lines and then the upper line will make more sense to you. President Dr. Abdul Kalam felt that he was bad in conversation, but he was good as a communicator. So eventually, how you converse, English, Hindi, Marathi, whatever, doesn't matter. Communicate well. So the language barrier which people who come from small towns and do a course here and tell, "Abhay, sir, अंग्रेजी बहुत अच्छी नहीं आती है." क्या बेटा? Doesn't matter. You know, I have seen most of the high-value deals which have been done in my own organizations were actually done by people who spoke very little of English, or who spoke fragmented, broken English. But they cut the most high-value deals because they could not engage into the great conversation, but they were great communicators. They could communicate the value of the product to their buyer, and they could close a deal. But whereas some others who are very good in conversation, they are bad communicators, and the deals never closed with them. So communication और conversation का फर्क है. Our own past president, Dr. Kalam said this. I found these words very interesting, and I said this applies very, very fit to the real estate industry. Be committed. Anything that you do, have a long-term commitment. देखिए हिंदुस्तान में एक कमिटमेंट सबसे तगड़ी है और वो है शादी की कमिटमेंट. हमारे यहाँ डिवोर्सेस बहुत कम होते हैं क्योंकि बचपन से आपको सिखाया गया है कि ये कमिटमेंट तोड़नी नहीं है भैया. यहाँ लाख झगड़े हो जाए पर हमें कमिटमेंट नहीं तोड़ेंगे. ये 7 जन्मों का वादा निभाएंगे, राइट? तो ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूँगा. ये दिस अप्लाइज एवरीवेयर. सो प्लीज शो दैट कमिटमेंट हियर आल्सो. Build trust. Leave these lines below, they are very, very important. Trust takes years to build, but seconds to break, and a lifetime forever to repair. You know, it takes so much time to build, seconds to break, and thereafter it needs a whole lifetime to repair. Or many times, रही मन धागा प्रेम का मत तोड़ो चटका है, जोड़े से फिर ना जुड़े, जुड़े गांठ पड़ी जाए, वो गांठ तो रहेगी वहां. सो रिमेंबर दिस. बाद में आप कितना भी उसको रिनोवेट करने की कोशिश करोगे, रिन्यू करने की कोशिश करोगे, तो नहीं बनेगी बात. दैट प्रॉब्लम इज बाउंड टू बी देयर. सो बिल्ड ट्रस्ट एंड डोंट ब्रेक इट. ब्रेकिंग ऑफ ट्रस्ट इज ब्रेकिंग ऑफ हार्ट्स. सो प्लीज बी श्योर दैट यू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट. प्लान वेल. You will enjoy success only when you plan well. And planning starts with your day. It doesn't start with planning your life. It starts with planning your day. Usually people say plan your life. I usually tell people plan your day. If you plan a day well, you're automatically planning for your life. Because you got into a habit of planning every day. And especially in the real estate, it's so very important, you know. जब हजारों लाखों करोड़ रुपया लगा हुआ हो और आपके पास अगर प्लानिंग नहीं है, तो क्या करोगे? So planning is very, very important. Please tell me what is this. जोर से बोलिए, किसी को अगर मालूम हो तो. Please, I want to listen from all of you. What is this? बापू के 3 बंदर. Everybody yes or no?
Yes.
Is this correct? All agree? What Bapuji said was right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Bapuji said was right. Correct? Yes?
Yes.
Loudly. Okay. You have all agreed with this. So as you go out of this hall, I am going to shatter your myth that this was wrong. If you do say yes, it needs a paradigm shift now. It's time you shift your paradigm. Because I have a frown on my face which is now got larger. Because you said yes. Now see what comes next. As a leader, you need to think differently. आपने वही सोचा जो किसी ने कहा. अब देखो. You are managers. You are leaders. Are you going to keep your eyes closed? Or you, ladies and gentlemen, say yes or no? Are you going to keep your eyes closed? No. Are you going to say that I heard nothing? There was so much of indiscipline going on, and did you just want to keep your ears shut and say, no, I didn't hear? No? Yes. Or yes and no? Okay. Then, this man says, I am going to tell. मैं चुप नहीं बैठूंगा. Is that right, Abhay? You want people to tell now. At any level wherever you are working, don't be blind, don't be deaf. Speak up. Come out with whatever is correct. So this is what is required. There is a complete paradigm shift. वो पहले के 3 बंदर देखे और कह दिया, बापूजी ने कह दिया, वही सही था. No, not good for managers. Managers and leaders are not going to think like this. They are going to think differently. And in real estate particularly, this myth we need to shatter. Because that's what is my promise to you. As you go out of this hall, you will be completely changed and transformed. Having shattered some of your very popular myths that ये ठीक था, अब ये गलत हो गया. हो गया ना गलत? Good. अब इसको देखो. Be accountable and not just responsible. हिंदुस्तान में कहते हैं, हर आदमी कहता है, बहुत be responsible. Be responsible. You act very irresponsibly. Doesn't, I mean, if you are all working people, does your immediate boss not tell you, very irresponsible of you? I say, what is responsibility? You are not grown to be responsible, you are grown to be accountable. And what is to be accountable? The person who makes the final decision and has the ultimate ownership of that decision is the man who is accountable. Do you want to be just simple managerial, sales manager, this manager, finance manager stuff, जिसको ये accountable आदमी order देता रहेगा, आपको responsible बनना है या accountable बनना है, या आपको सोचना है? That is where I said you need to change your paradigm, you need to change your myth now. Accountable is the person who will take ultimate ownership. You know, friends, I will give you an example of ultimately taking. Am I exceeding my time? I'll give you an ultimate example of somebody taking up ownership. You know, when the SLV, the space program of India, the SLV was to be fired from Sri Harikota launch. You know, Dr. Satish Dhawan, or Professor Satish Dhawan was the in charge of ISRO. He was the head of ISRO. And you know, when the first SLV launch was taking place, the countdown had begun. The countdown usually starts with 30. So on the screen you see 30, 29, 28, 27. And the team leader of that SLV program was none other than our past president, Dr. Abdul Kalam. And before the 7th second, something came on screen which said abort the flight. Something came on screen which said abort the flight, there is a snag. In a fraction of a second, Dr. Kalam had to take a decision whether I abort this flight, and there is a press willing to hound me outside. Pressmen sitting there, willing to hound me, should I abort it or should I not? Within a fraction of a second, he said, I will not abort this. Let it fly. We will learn out of mistakes, but I will not stop this. And you know what happened to that SLV? It landed in the Indian Ocean. That SLV didn't take off. It was supposed to put a satellite into orbit, but it didn't happen. This went into the Indian Ocean. Professor Satish Dhawan came into that hall where Dr. Abdul Kalam was sitting, and he said, Mr. Kalam, you be inside. I'll go and face the press. The press wants to hound, but you are not the one who's going to be responsible. I am the one who's going to be accountable to this. And he went and met the press and said, yes, we have failed this time. Come 6 months later, we'll show you a success story. Within 4.5 months, the next version of SLV was launched, and it went very, very nicely into the orbit. Professor Satish Dhawan told Kalam, you go out now and meet the press. So when it came to failure, he said, Dr. Kalam, you don't go. I'll go and meet the press. But when it came to success as a leader, he said, it's your success now. Go and enjoy your moment of success. These are responsible people. They take responsibility of what happens. हर अच्छी चीज के लिए हम जिम्मेदार हैं. बुरा किसी ने किया, इन्होंने किया. That is not leadership, friends. It will not take you far. It will not make you successful. So understand this. This is extremely important. Accountability. Wherever you go, go with all your heart and passion. Heart भी लेके जाइए. Heart घर में मत भूलिए. Usually हम लोग अपने वर्क प्लेस में चले जाते हैं और अपना हार्ट रेफ्रिजरेटर के डीप फ्रीजर में छोड़ के जाते हैं. I'll tell you an example. The cutoff for the high jump was about 7 feet and 4 inches formerly, and off late it has come to almost about 8 feet. Can you imagine a human being breaking a barrier of 8 feet and jumping high and going beyond that bar? Looks pretty impossible to me. And they asked the guy who actually did it. He crossed that 8 feet barrier. They said, how do you do it? He said, I don't do it. He said, what do you mean? We saw you doing it. He said, my heart jumps first, I follow my heart. You understand the enormity of what I said? He said, my heart jumps first and I then follow my heart. तो अगर हार्ट काम पे नहीं ले जाएंगे तो भैया क्या होगा? कुछ भी नहीं, 1 फुट की भी छलांग नहीं लगाएंगे हम. So please make that a point that wherever you go, whichever company you go, wherever you work, you become an entrepreneur, please make sure that you go with all your heart. Friends, the lower line actually gives me a lot of value in terms of explaining it to you. Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm. And friends, this was said by none other than the greatest orator of the last century, which was Winston Churchill. Friends, there was no great orator or a speaker or a thinker. Thinker may be a little wrong, far-fetched, but then nobody better than Churchill to motivate the forces during the World War. He said success is the ability to go from one failure to another without the loss of enthusiasm. Friends, this is what is the essence of success. We are all going to go into multiple failures, and eventually that's the only way to success. Success will never take you to success. Success will only take you to a dip. So early success is a bad sign. A few failures and then a success will be more a sweetener. That is what Abhay has been precisely talking about, and that is where you should look to go. Friends, I have exceeded my time, so I will not really do much. Always remember, difficulties and failure are the mother of success. Always remember this. Success doesn't come to you, you will have to go to it. Success आएगा, 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 हमारे पास आएगा, नहीं आएगा. Success की खोज में आपको जाना पड़ेगा. हाँ? Will success come and invite you someday at your home? Not. Postman के साथ आएगा success लिफाफे में भर के. कि चलिए success आ गया, आज demand draft में success आ गया. नहीं आएगा, किसी के घर भी नहीं आएगा. So please make sure, if we all want to be successful, we will have to put that foot towards success, and success is not going to come and knock at our doors. It is extremely important for each one of you to understand this slide. How far can you go? How far can you go? You can go only as far as your team can take you. This is all teamwork. So in case there's one individual who says कि मैं path breaking कुछ ना कुछ कर दूँगा, research कर सकते हैं, realistic नहीं कर सकते. And The last parting line is, so with a great team. Thank you very much, friends, for having given me a very, very patient hearing. Thank you. I am extremely sorry, my apologies for having taken that little extra time.